What's up, everybody? It's the Pope Elijah Burke, and I want you to tune in whenever you can to make sure that you're listening to Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast with Adam and Fiona.
Welcome back to the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. It is NWA Power Review, Power 250, the 250th episode of NWA Power. We've had the privilege on there of just trying my light. It's not quite working. We've had the privilege of reviewing around 100 to 110 NWA Powers. So big calm congratulations to them. You will notice if you're watching on YouTube, no Miss Fiona Lochran. We've both had issues this week, if I'm honest, trying to get this reviewed. It's been hellacious, if at best or at worst, should I say, to get it reviewed. I had to go through our VPN wasn't working, it was coming up unavailable. We tweeted out, about it or X'd out. I don't know what the hell you call it anymore. About it. Um, Finally, I got through a bit unconventionally. I had my VPN on. I went onto the NWA's Facebook page, went onto an episode 3 weeks ago, come out of that episode, clicked into the other episode of the latest one, and it worked. So a little bit around the houses, very frustrating, but did get a chance to review and watch NWA 250. Now, the big part of this show is the start of the Crockett Cup, the 40th Crockett Cup, which will take place in Forney, Texas. The taping will be in a few weeks' time. We'll probably see it around June or July by the time we get there. But nevertheless, Crockett Cup starts this week on NWA Power. Boy, did it start. So we had a little Crockett Cup exhibition contest to start off the show. Jack and Eddie, who, I thought they were advertised as the Crockett Cup, but they're not at the minute. We're going against the number one seeds, the Immortals. And to say mismatch would be, I think it's being kind. I mean, Jesus. Kratos speared, I think it was Jack, into next week to start the match off. I mean, the bell rang, Kratos ran at him like a freight train. And he was, God, he was nearly into about row four into the crowd. There was a huge suplex after. I mean, it wasn't even a suplex. He just picked him up and threw him over his shoulder, which I thought that was quite funny, to be honest. I mean, he suplexed him in another galaxy. He may well have done. Odison, Jesus, get his name up, got tagged in, as did Eddie, and he got uppercutted. I think Danny Deal said it best. It was like a gnat in a windscreen when he got up. I mean, Jesus, he uppercutted him. I thought he was going to hit the ceiling. Not exaggerating. It was absolutely brutal from the Immortals. The tag got back in to Kratos, who delivered a big time suplex. The thud on that suplex, by the way, was criminal. Could have been arrested, you know. And he covered him. He got the free, but there was a lot of confusion around, whether I think it was Eddie was meant to kick out of that. So I'm not sure if there was a bit of miscommunication there, or if that was meant to happen. It was meant to happen, but nevertheless, the Immortals, unsurprisingly, when you see the size difference, picked up the victory in this match, and they got on with Carl Davis. They showed their respect to Jack and Eddie. In this, and they're looking to go back to back to be the first ever team to go back to back in the Crockett Cup. Now, what we will do is give you the seeds at the end of this. Very controversial, in my opinion, are the seeds in this year's Crockett Cup. There's a couple of teams in there that are very much too high, in my opinion. And there's a couple of teams that should be higher. We'll get into that. Jack and Eddie are advertised for the Crockett Cup, so perhaps it's going to play in because after we had Hammerstone promo in there about his match with Carnage, which will be the main event, and Carnage is probably the right word for that one. But then we come to the first of what's going to be a few sort of play-ins. So obviously there's a 16th seed of the Crockett Cup. Now the 16th seed of the Crockett Cup over the last few years, and it looks like it's going to go on to this year, is going to be a winner of some form of battle royal or elimination match. Not quite sure the how it's going to play out this year. But they did do a fatal four-way tag team match where the winners would become seed 16A. The assumption is there'll be a 16B, a C, a D, and so on and so forth till we get to Forney, Texas. Now, this was the Lost, Gags and Misery, Pretty City Express, I think it was from NWA New Mexico, Sins and Grins, which was Bam Bam Malone, and our good friend Izzy James. There was Brady Pierce making his return for a few years, and Hollis. They were another team in this. And this was great, actually, because what I really liked about this, I've never seen the Pretty City Express before. I thought they were very good in there. Seen Izzy James, technically gifted, educated feet. Bam Bam Alone, I've seen once or twice on the NWA Powerr shows. I'm pretty sure he was teaming with the Baron at one point, if memory serves me right. It was great to see Brady Pierce back, as well as Hollis. Hollis made a good impression. Very limited, though, in this kind of match when you only get sort of, I think it was about 8 minutes to get four teams. That's 2 minutes each, really, when you break it all down. In this, some good tag team work from the Pretty City Express. I mean, I don't know if they're tag team champions down in New Mexico or but they're very, very astute as a tag team. Lots of quick tags in and out. Again, with the time limit, trying to get the shit in, so to speak. That is the way it is in this type of match. Great agility as ever by Izzy James in this, and lots of blind tags, a bit where Gags come in and he flew around the place. Alex Misery, some sort of corkscrew moonsault onto the outside. It all went a bit crazy at a point of this, but it ended up with the famous into the snake bite, and there was another kick, I'm pretty sure. But Sins and Grins managed to obtain the spot 16A in the Crockett Cup. So that's one of the teams. And I'm pretty sure as we go through the weeks leading up, we're going to get more slots allocated. And then at Forney, when it tapes in a few weeks, you'll get like a big battle royal of some kind where the winners will, the play-in winners will then get the number 16 spot in the Crockett Cup. Well, that may be before Forney, Texas, come to think of it, because there's something happening next week, which I'll get to, which may actually just blow it out of the water. So just ignore everything I've just said. Anyway, we go back stage. Carly Page is talking about Vipress. Over the last few weeks, the Page sisters have been embroiled in a lot of feuds on NWA. Taking away a little bit of the Hunter Drake issue that he'd been watching. If you recall, over the sort of last 4 to 5 months, there's been issues with the marriage with Kenzie and Hunter. That's sort of come on into this a little bit. But nevertheless, she's there and she can smell something, and it's dog shit is what she can smell, pretty much. She was checking Kenzie's feet, checking Kylie's feet. It ended up being on Kylie's trainer, I believe. And the dog mess was that of Hollywood Haley J's dog. And they were getting in a bit of a to-do. And funnily enough, it was quite funny. And it's hilarious. The dog was holding her back. That was the quote from Haley J, which I thought was hilarious. But anyway, that sets up next week. So next week it's Kylie Page and Hollywood Haley J, which that should be an absolute barn burner. Really should be good. There was a great 40th promo of the Crockett Cup, to be honest with you, and that's really, really good. Really, really nicely presented, as of course a lot of NWA stuff actually is, and that was a really nice little video package to play it up. Now, Livia, I think her name is, 19 years old, making her NWA debut against Tiffany Nieves for the Women's Television Championship was next. I thought it was an interesting match. It it ebbed and flowed. There was bits that I liked. There was bits where I thought it was a little bit off. I'm not sure whether the chemistry was quite there. Tiffany Nieves is outstanding, by the way. I'm not saying that she isn't. It just felt like you could tell Levi was new into, at least into the NWA. There were some nice moments in this, I will have to say. Obviously, Tiffany Nieves coming out with TBMA, Sam Starr, and of course Greta. And there was one point during this where Nieves goes behind Greta and Olivia, I think Livia, that's the name, Livia. Get it right, it's like Olivia, but it's not spelled that way. It's spelled Liviyaj. She comes out and she's staring down Greta, and as she's done that, Tiffany Evans has run around the back, come out, hit like a dive onto the outside or a drop kick onto the outside. Um, she's got into the post as well, and then the second time Tiffany Nieves went into the post. Um, it was the end that I was found a bit strange because for some unknown reason, Sam Starr called Greta into the ring. She delivered a choke slam, and well, that would indicate a DQ, and that Livia would have picked up the victory. But Cole Davis announced that the referee had thrown the match out. So I was a bit confused as well. Surely that's a DQ and Livia picks up the victory. I don't know why the referee is throwing the match out. It makes no sense. So maybe that needs to be clarified as to who won that match because for me it's a DQ win for Livia, and that would then surely give her another shot. And I don't know where that works, and because they haven't really mentioned Tiffany Nieves and the Lucky Seven. She has been targeting Natalia Markova over the last few weeks and months as well. She got chokeslammed through a table by Greta. So we need to sort of get up to speed, or they need to bring us up to speed on that as to where we are with that particular lucky seven. There's another lucky seven in a minute, which we'll get to. But yeah, so not quite sure what happened there, but my opinion is Livia wins that. So tough shit, Tiffany and anyone else in the NWA. It shouldn't have thrown it out. Should have just DQ'd Tiffany Nieves. Obviously Crockett Cup season, but some of the tag teams are in singles action. And one in particular, KC Kazana from the Country Gentlemen, was going against Jake Cross. Again, I don't think I've seen Jake Cross on NWA television before. So um, debut for him as well. As I said, it was unusual to see KC in action as a single. Nice though, because a lot of times out of 10 we say to myself and Fee say this. Oh, it's nice to see it. We said it a lot with the Southern Six with AT and Kerry Morton. A lot of times we see them, as a team, but over the last year or so, we've seen a lot more as a single. Obviously, AT holding the championship, the junior heavyweight championship for so long. It was great to see him in singles action. Um, there was a great belly to back suplex on the, or belly to belly suplex, sorry, no, belly to back, sorry, from KC Nirvana in this, and a good KC struck with a leg drop, of course, and obviously with it being KC Kazana, Colonel Joe, KFC Joe, was out there. The crowd with the popcorn or whatever it was, or the KFC tub signs at ringside were quite good. Um, he did hit a lariat that JBL would be proud of. And I was going to ask Fee actually if she was on here. JBL, again, over the last year or so, has been doing the rounds in wrestling. He was at TNA. I think he turned up in Mexico. He turned up somewhere else. JBL needs to turn up in the NWA. That's what I'm thinking. John Bradshaw Layfield needs to be clotheslining some heads off in the NWA. So perhaps that can happen in the future. But going on to that, it brings me back to the Crockett Cup, and Cole Davis was in the ring with Joe Kazana, and Joe Kazana basically said how unhappy he was with the fact that the country gentlemen were seeded six in the Crockett Cup. He thinks they should be seeded one. I don't think they should be seeded at all, to be quite honest with you, but that's for another day. We'll get into the seedings in a minute, because again, there is some controversial ones in there. He is right, but it's not him. Uh, Unfortunately, I think six is being generous to the country gentleman, I must say. And I'm sure that'll be happy. AJ Kazana and co will be happy to hear that. I do sense that there may be a bracket buster with them. Uh, I don't know why, but I do sense it. I sense that they may have they may lose early and maybe, last year the slime balls were the bracket buster, but you can't really call the slime balls the bracket busters this year because of last year getting to the quarterfinals and everything that they done. I think they beat BFT last year, so that was a huge bracket buster victory. So I feel as if the country gentlemen will be on the receiving end of it this year, or at least I like to hope they are. Anyway. Um, Right. Dr. Vic's abode. We're back there. And it's Tiffany's birthday. It's somebody else's birthday in a minute, but it's Tiffany's birthday, or at least getting to Tiffany's birthday. And Dr. Vic has invited her round. And he's gearing himself up in the mirror. You got your PhD and yada yada yada. There was a knock at the door. The door rang a few times before he answered it. In comes Tiffany Nieves. Okay. And she's there, and he's like, blah blah blah, really good to see you, and all of this. Followed by Sam Starr. Okay, and he was like, okay, hey Sam, and she was like, thanks for the invite. I don't know if he invited her, but anyway. Then Greta, and he was like, yeah, I've got your soda that you enjoy. It's in the fridge, and she put out a smile. Um, but Pastor CeeLo then joined, and he was like, okay, well, any friend of Tiffany's is a friend of mine. Welcome. Then Pretty Boy Smooth come in, and it is just like, what the hell is going on? That was part one of the what is a crazy start, shall we say? Um, what happens next? We will just have to wait and see, and I'll tell you very, very soon. But it gets crazier. Well, it does. It doesn't get crazier this week, but it looks like it's going to get crazier. Um, we then move to another birthday, and in the ring is Brian Idol. No, it's not his birthday. Well, it might be, depending on what happens with him, but we'll get into that in a minute. And WPC, William Patrick Corgan, whose birthday it will be, 59 years old. And Brian Idol wants to give him a gift, and the only gift that he can really give him to thank Billy for everything he's done is to bring back the NWA World Heavyweight Championship from the Thrill Billy. And you can imagine, as my light changes, you could imagine what happens next. Of course, Thrill Billy Silas Mason comes down. So Brian Idol's officially now cashed in the television championship. He's hit his lucky seven, fully crashed it in, fully now cashed it in, and he's going against Thrill Billy. Thrill Billy said he's got his head so far up Billy Corgan's asked that he basically applies to spray tan, which I thought was hilarious. But them two are on a collision course, and they've got history. I mean, Silas Mason did actually say during that promo that the scar on your neck is basically from him, which it is because they had a match where I think he injured his shoulder. Actually, I'm not sure why he said neck, but hey ho, it's what it is. But they are on the collision course. But they were ready to do it. They were ready to go. But Billy was like, no, get out, get out. We'll do it another time. So it is set. It is official. Brian Idol is cashing in his lucky seven at a shot at the £10 of gold. Silas Mason's made it very, very clear that Brian Idol has never beaten him and never, ever will. We'll find out if that happens. Now, when I said earlier on that maybe the 16th seed may not get a chance or there may be an issue, they may not get to the Crockett Cup. That brings us to the Good Brothers. The Good Brothers were talking and basically saying about how they got a match coming up, and their actual opening round match is next week. So the 16th seed won't make it to the Crockett Cup, but we will crown a 16th seed before the Crockett Cup and the weeks that leading up to it, because the Good Brothers next week will take on Bones and Zion in an opening round contest for the Crockett Cup. So we're really looking forward to seeing that next week. Now, main Daisy Kill done a promo, so you probably can main event time on Power. But yes, Daisy Kill did do a promo about his reign of terror and how he wants Eric Smalls and whatnot. Anyway, that's for another time. Main event. Carnage and Hammerstone, and you can imagine two big meaty men slapping meat. You got it in a nutshell. That's exactly what it was. Hammerstone, although saying now, Hammerstone was flying out the ring during this as well. Really enjoyable match, this one. There's a break. I don't like the breaks in the middle of the matches, but hey ho. And I know Fee wouldn't like it either. Um, but I will give it a pass because we went back to Dr. Vic's abode. And we got caught as this was happening as Hammerstone got caught with a big boot from Carnage. So we go back to the abode and all sitting there, and Dr. Vic has got something he wants to talk to Tiffany Nieves about. And he was like, he's a bit shy. And she's like, well, we're all friends here, all this, all in this together. Your secret's safe with us, so to speak. And Cena was like, your secret is safe, and all this stuff. Never happened. We never got to see what this secret was. But look, ultimately, for those of you, Fiona said it right a couple of weeks ago. Dr. Vic wants to smash Tiffany Nieves. And fair play to him. Good, well done. He's giving it a go. Well, he's not giving it a go yet, but he is going to try to give it a go. So fair play to Dr. Vic. Whether you'll get there or not is another thing. Now we move to the Aarons and the Federation of Champions and the Slime Balls. And as Aaron said, he's got two teams in the Crockett Cup, and the Slime Balls made a point saying, well, actually, you got three. He was like, no, I'm in the Federation of Champions. You're the Slime Balls. We've got a money agreement, but everything else. So you're not included in this conversation. It does have three because the Slime Balls are in it. As, of course, are the Wrestling Machines, Slade and Mondo. And as, of course, are the Drakes, Carson and Lockjaw. Now, I think next week, Carson Drake has Chico Adams. Name rings a bell. So maybe he's been on Power before. I don't know. But he did say that he's coming after Silas Mason. He said the fans are with him. I'm not quite sure that's true. Maybe against Carson Drake because we always say he's got the most punchable face in wrestling, and maybe the fans will be with Silas Mason against Carson Drake. Well, yeah, I would have thought so. So he's coming after him, but he's got to dig on that. Homeboy! Oh, that's worse. That Jesus. Sorry, Aaron. I've totally butchered that. I'll try and better another time. I can't hit those notes that you can. You twist your melons far better than I can twist mine. Back to the action though. um, Emma Stone's getting thrown into the steel steps on this. Big pump kick as well on this, and a power slam for a two. But finally, as Carnage was going for the spear into the corner, he misses, he goes face first, and he gets the nightmare pendulum Hammerstone. How he does this on guys that size, I don't know. For those of you that don't know what the nightmare pendulum is, he picks him up into a vertical suplex, and then he brings them down and into like I don't know what you'd call it, but just Google it, YouTube it. Anyway, it's an amazing move, and it's even more impressive when it's against a bigger guy. It's kind of a bit like a boss man slam. Anyway, and it's incredible. Gets the 1, 2, 3, and Hammerstone picks up another victory in the NWA. Right, next week, obviously, we got Kylie Page and Hollywood Haley J. I think we got Chico Adams and Carson Drake and Zion and Bones versus the Good Brothers. So let's get to these Crockett Cup seeds. Now, the 16th seed, we don't know. It's going to be there's going to be a lot of teams going in for the play-in. So we don't know who that is. I'm going to say Jack and Eddie because they're on the NWA poster for the Crockett Cup. So I'm going to say them. Anyway, seed 15, Zion and Bones. I can understand that. 14, Wrecking Ball, Legursky, JAC. I can understand that. 13, Pretty Boy Smooth and Hayden Backlund, who's family ties with Bob Backlund. He's a nephew of Bob Backlund, I believe. 13, I get that. The Hard Way, 12. Yep, get that. 11, Murdoch and Franks. Not too bad. 10, Slime Balls. Ridiculous. Slime Balls need to be in the top 5. They are the United States, the champions of the United States of America, champions, as they say. They've all been on a roll. The quarterfinalists last year should have at least been 8 or higher, in my opinion, for that. Didn't like that. Latimer and El Dragon, 9. How? No disrespect to Latimer, but your tag partners barely won. I think he's had about 3 matches on NWA, and I know Latimer's a former world heavyweight champion, lost it against Silas Mason last year. How they're nine, I have no clue. I would probably even say the hard way could have gone there, maybe should have gone there, just because they've been a team as well. Um, 8, the Drakes. Yeah, to a degree. 7, Mims and Pope. Not sure I don't know where they've got that from, if I'm honest with you. Again, you could put them at 10. They should have been in the back end of the seeds, in my opinion. What have they done as a team? They were a team before. They were against each other 6 months ago, and now they're a team all of a sudden. They go seventh. Not sure about that. The Country Gentlemen 6, Country Gentlemen shouldn't even be in the competition. So forget about that. The Southern 6-5, yeah, former Crockett Cup winners. I get that. Not been at, although I would say, in a bit of a controversial one here with the Southern 6, because 2024 winners, yeah, Knox and Murdoch won it last year. 2024 winners, not done anything as a tag team really since. So question mark, but I will let that pass because they have been Crockett Cup winners in the past. The Wrestling Machines at 4. I don't think you can have the Southern Six at 5 and the Wrestling Machines at 4 when the Southern Six have won the Crockett Cup, albeit, like I said, they haven't been a tag team for too long. Wrestling Machines have only had a couple of matches as well, if I'm being transparent. So I'm a little bit skeptical about that one. The Colognes at 3, yeah, they were the finalists. I can get that. The Good Brothers at 2, and I love the Good Brothers. I love Carl Anderson and I love Luke Gallows. At 2, they've had what, 2 matches, maybe one in the NWA, and they get second seed. I have to look. I don't agree much with Joe Kazana. Quite frankly, I don't agree with the Kazanas at all. However, when he said that these seeds are rigged by Billy Corgan, I will have to agree with him on this. Not because they're low. I mean, I don't even want them in a competition, but some of these seeds are very, very controversial for me. I don't agree with a lot of them. Maybe to a degree, the top half, I don't really agree with. So, barring one or two. So, it's yeah, not a fan of the seeds, but hey, look, that is what it is. It's the Crockett Cup, and we are starting next week with the Good Brothers against Zion and Bones, and that is the NWA 250 Power Review Show. We hope to be back next week. We hope that Fiona Lockham can join. But other than that, guys, just keep a lookout on the channel. Eddie Edwards coming your way. AJ Francis is already there. Go, if you're an NWA fan, there's Talking Territories. There's NWA Spotlights, playlists below. Go and see it. Check out NWA every week on Roku if you're in the US or Mexico. But until then, everybody, until next week, buckle down, stay safe. Goodbye.